would like to tell a story, well, really an experience. They told me to stay out of this house since it had been abandoned for around 100 years, and the forest that is behind my family's property. This forest was extremely dense, and on the front part of it, and opened up into a large cutover that was in itself probably around 15 acres. There was an immense amount of trees laying over on one side of the house, and of course, as you may imagine, there wouldn't be any windows because of the age of the house, at least the glass windows of that kind. I remember one day I walked up to the house, and this was a few years ago, and I just kind of poked my head through there to really look and see that there wasn't a floor left, or it was just a dirt floor with a bunch of holes dug into it, and that's really all I could see because it was just too dark in there. That was really all I could remember. And a few days ago, when it was time for my friend to come over, and one evening we decided to go into the woods and try to find squirrels and look at different things, and we built a fort, rode our bikes, just the normal general kid things. And my friend Todd was pointing over at this cutover. He asked me, "Is that a house?" I explained to him that it was a house that had been there ever since that my family had lived there in the area, and it was roughly 100 years or better old. My friend Todd suggested that we went over there to take a look, and I, being me, was kind of hesitant because to me it was going to be kind of boring, because I remembered at one point or another my granddad had told me that it really wouldn't be a good idea to go over there, because he remembered that there were two people roughly around 100 years ago that had died from freezing to death in this house, and apparently were never seen after that. My friend Todd was kind of laughing whenever I told him this, and he said, we should go over there. Maybe we'll see a killer clown or something. I told him just to shut up and let's go. So we walked over to the house, and when we finally arrived, the whole area seemed kind of dreary. Todd was the first person to step up onto the area, which we would call a porch, around the doorway, and he was waiting on me to come up there as well. Though I was being as hesitant there again as I could, I went ahead and walked up to the door with him, and we both proceeded to go inside. At first, I told him that he should be the first to go inside just to check it out. And he shrugged his shoulders and went ahead and just went inside and looked around. And after about 10 minutes, he came back out and just had a look on his face. He said, there is absolutely nothing in there except for a foul stench. I didn't really understand exactly why it would have a foul stench, but I told him the only thing I could understand would maybe there'd be an animal or something had went inside, maybe it was sick or something, and recently it died. That's why we could smell it. So we both at this point walked in together and were looking around with flashlights, and as soon as we both walked inside, to this second, we could hear someone out in the woods hollering at both of us. The wind began to blow through the trees, and we could hear that right here at this very second, at the same time, the person was yelling at us through the woods. Though neither one of us could understand what exactly the person was saying, we both stepped outside of the house, and the wind subsided, and the voice we heard stopped. In confusion, we both looked at each other and then stepped back in the house at the same time, and the wind began to blow again, and we heard the voice again yell for us to leave. I told Todd, I said, we need to get the hell out of here. As I was actually walking out the door myself, Todd decided to just stay in the house to look around. I was even waving my hand like, let's go. I walked away from the house and I got about 100 feet. I turned around to face towards the house. The wind was still blowing pretty good, and I could still hear the voice yelling at us. My guess was because Todd was still in the house, and I'm talking about it being haunted. Okay, myself yelled again at Todd and told him to get out of the house because I could hear the voice. He apparently did not hear me, and this voice that we were hearing was getting louder and louder, and the wind was blowing much harder. Leaves were flying everywhere. At this point, I was getting chill bumps from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. I screamed at Todd from the top of my lungs and began to run back towards the house. And as I got closer to the door, it slammed shut. Todd began to yell as he was trying to open the door, and I was trying to push it open at the same time, and it wouldn't budge. I was looking around for something to smash the door open, such as maybe a large cut piece of wood or something. Anything I could find to get the door open to get him out. Todd continued to yell. At this point, violently, he was banging on the door. I then remembered and realized about the windows. There was no glass in these windows anyways. I told Todd to jump through one of the windows so he could get out. The next thing I knew, Todd was, I guess he was hurled out of one of the windows, almost like somebody just threw him out. He stood up and dusted himself off, and he was breathing extremely heavy. I asked him if he was okay and what did he see, and he said that he could not really explain it, but while he was standing there in the house and I was standing away from the house on the outside, there was a voice getting louder, and he felt something grab a hold of his shoulder, and then it whispered into his ear and said, "Stay right here." That is when the door slammed shut. Todd said he felt that his life was in danger, so that when he started to bang on the door, that's exactly when he did. I asked him again if he was okay, and this very second we heard the same voice yell at us again through the woods. We then began to run back towards my house, and we vowed to never come back.